Hello everyone. So today we're going to be getting started on the New Yorker gas tank. This is from KBS Coatings. It has everything you need. I'm sorry about the noise. That is a hairdryer gassing out the tank and everything here to get started on. It is really cold. It's about 52 degrees, but all this should work. I'm going to keep that to keep it hot in there before we start using the cleaner and everything. So we have a cleaner, a rust blast, which is basically an acid that'll eat the rust out, and the tank sealer. Also comes with the instructions that you will need, which we will be following, and a little booklet of other stuff they provide. Love the truck on the front. But yeah, they show you, rust preventative. They have aerosol can stuff. Let's flip it in the back here. It's hard to do this stuff one-handed. Yeah. T-shirts, rust seals. I don't know what those are. Paint spouts. Oh, okay, for cans. That's cool. Thinners, gun filters, gloves. They have everything in here basically. Stripper. I could use that the other day. New metal epoxy putty. Ooh, that's something new. Yeah, there's the tank sealers, motorcycles and cars, paints. Oh, header coating. Yeah, think about all the good stuff. Undercoats, top coats, frame paint. Here's one that's real cool. That's for, you can stick it in your fenders and squeeze the trigger and pull out, and it'll spray the inside of your fenders. So it'll take your fenders off your car. Or if you have bedsides, it'll do those too. Real cool stuff. These are probably some like epoxy seals, paint over rust type stuff. Yeah, cool stuff, cool stuff. But I got some water in the house boiling because the cleaner is a 1-to-1 ratio, which means you need to take the same exact amount of this in hot water and put it in your tank. Now, before we get started with that, though, I definitely need to tape off. Well, actually, I'm not going to tape off. I'm going to use this. This is my old fuel mechanism. I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to put it back onto the tank back here, and then put the seal and everything back on, and then tape off the hole. So that way, that will prevent anything from coming out this end without taping it up, just to be doubly sure that it's going to work good. So I'm going to flip this onto the bench. I'm going to cut this off, and then we're going to start getting this ready to go. I know there's a vent hole I have to tape. This I have to put nut in, and that's going to be open until we pour our cleaner in. Now, before we get started here, you must know, this isn't a 1-hour process. This is a very long process, as you have to clean this tank for an hour, and you have to shake the tank to get everything in there. You need to put a chain or some nuts or bolts or something in there to help it clean while it's in there. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put a chain in there, or some nuts and bolts. Preferably, if you put nuts and bolts in it, you're going to want to put it on a piece of wire or something, so you can fish it all out in one piece. You don't want to have to be sitting there digging a single nut out at a time. It'll take forever. Chain, that's easier. So, that's self-explanatory for a chain. I'm going to throw this up on the table. I'm going to get my tripod ready. I'm going to show you guys how this stuff works. So you can see I have the vent tube covered. I have the fuel mech covered here and put back in. It has its rubber seal and everything so it won't leak. I have my tape ready, ready to go on. My tank is warm now. I heated it with the hairdryer. You can use a heat gun, whatever. Sorry, excuse me. You can also use cork if you have big pieces of cork to cover the holes. Anything that can seal that. Alright, so now I have my chain ready, I have my hot water ready, and I have my solution ready. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you on the tripod. I am probably going to burn myself like a numbnuts, but I am going to get this on here. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to shake the KBS clean a lot. Alright, shake well. And this is a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 part of this to 1 part hot water. Yes, use hot water. Why use hot water? Hot water works better with cleaners. So, shake well. Trying to get the tank level as I can. Alright. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop the cap. And I'm going to dump this in. Now that that's in there, I'm going to fill this with hot water. Now since I don't have access to very hot water, I boiled some and then brought it out here. So here we go. Ooh, that's hot. And spill it. Okay. So as you can see, that's steaming now. I'm going to dry all this off because you need to seal this. Which is what I'm going to do now with the aluminum ducting tape. You don't have to use this, you can use regular duct tape. I just never really had any luck with that old duct tape. So, the ducting tape, very strong adhesive. You know, I forgot to put the chain in there. Well, it's okay. Only human. This is a very big chain. But you're going to be shaking this tank, so you definitely want to make sure it is sealed. Or if you like getting soaking wet, it's cold outside. Okay, so it's been a little over an hour. I've shook it several times with the chain in it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the seal off here, which you're going to have to replace this every time. No big deal. It's just some tape. It's stuck on there real good. And I am going to drain this and rinse it with hot water. I'm going to do this outside because 1, I don't have access to hot water in here, and 2, I don't want the cleaner in my floor, even though it's, you know, it's all floor. Yeah. Actually does a good job. Look at that. Look at all that rust. There is a lot of rust going to come out of there, I just about bet. But the chain helps knock any of it off, and the cleaner cleans it off. So I'll be back as soon as I clean it out. Okay, now that the tank is dry, or not dry, but drained with hot water, I'm gonna put the heat back to it to dry it out. You want this to be completely dry. So I'm gonna let that sit for probably about an hour, and it should be relatively dry. When you rinse it with hot water, it will dry faster. So now let it dry. This is a crucial step. You must let it dry completely. Okay, so the next step is the rust blast. Now what this is basically is an acid. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some rubber gloves and prepare to put this in the tank. And since I don't know how strong it is, I definitely want to use some protection. The tank was super dry before this process. You don't want to dilute this at any dilute this at any at all. You definitely do not want to have the chain in here at this point. By now all of the rust you could have gotten out is already out. This is what's going to eat into the metal. So if you have holes that you have not seen, this is more than likely going to show them. That's a good thing. If you already have pinholes, this could make them bigger too, by the way, depending on how rusty they are. And what this is going to do is it's going to eat into the rust and penetrate to where the tank sealer itself has something to grab onto. It'll eat the rust, and if you have, let's say, a partially rusted tank, still bare metal, it will eat some of the bare metal coating off in order to penetrate even better. Alright, now just for my protection here, I'm going to put those gloves back on to shake the tank. Now, this is where the process is going to start getting long. Because for best results, you want to let this sit. Now, you don't want to let it sit long, but you definitely do want to let it sit. In my case, I'm going to let it sit longer like this, to where it's more on the bottom of the tank where all the heavy rust was at. But now, let's shake it up a little bit. Now, for best results, you're going to want to shake this every once in a while. But what I am going to do is, since I know the bottom of this tank is the rustiest part, I'm going to let it sit there for a little bit longer. Now the kit does come with gloves, but I figured I would use the stronger gloves to protect my hands from the tank sealer, so that way it would not get on my skin. Okay, now let's let it sit. For best results, 30 minutes aside. Well, not for best results, but for good results, 30 minutes. For better results, an hour. But here we go. I am going to cut you on when it is time to dump it out. You guys don't want to sit and watch me go hour. There's like 6 hours there. So I'll cut you back on when it's time to drain it. Okay, so I've let it sit on the bottom of the tank for a while, and I'm now starting to move it around. Now, again, the reason I let it sit a little bit longer on the bottom is because that's where most of the rust is. So now, get the top. Now, I took the time to read everything real carefully, but what I skimmed over was not actually in the instructions, but was on the bottom. And that is, this stuff is non-corrosive, non-flammable, and biodegradable. So that means, really, you don't have to wear gloves. It's non-corrosive. But it's always nice to have that little extra insurance. So now while this sits on its top, slosh it around real good. And now I'm going to let that sit. I will check back in about another 5, maybe 10 minutes, just in case. It's been soaking a good long time, shook up a lot. What I'm going to do is pour the rest of the rust blast that's in there back into the bottle. And after I do that, we have to rinse it again, and then we have to dry it. The tank is still drying, but I did want to check something, and that's what I'm going to do, is throw a light in here. I hope you guys will be able to see. Let me see if I can. Going to be a little bit harder than I thought. Let me see if I can get a different light source. Alright, maybe now you guys can see a little bit better. This is actually the bottom we're looking at. You can see all that silver. That's where the rust blast has turned it to a zinc coating again. So it's done its job for sure. Now, it's not all 100% going to be out of there. Tank is 100% dry. I already got my tape ready, got my gloves on. We need to mix up our tank sealer now. Now this you're not going to put in and just leave it. This you're going to try to do your best to coat the entire inside of the tank. So what we're going to do is thoroughly mix it now. Comes with this mix stick. Yeah, you can feel the solids down the bottom. To thoroughly mix. Alright, now that it's mixed thoroughly, we're going to pour it in. Try to get you guys a better shot here. And that is the gold standard tank sealer. Now that I look at it, I'm probably going to have to stand it up. Do not throw your can away, because you're going to have to pour some back in there. Alright, now as quick as you can, let's get it taped. Since it is a little bit chilly here in my garage, you probably don't want to have it in a very warm place. You don't really want this to be in your house. It does have a smell, but it's nothing that can knock you down. It's not as bad. It smells like paint. I mean, that's really how it smells. It's my opinion. It's not even strong enough to where I would recommend a respirator or nothing. Now, if there's some reason you would be spraying this, which I would never know why anybody would be trying to spray it, because I don't even think it's sprayable. Okay. You want to use a respirator if you're trying to spray it. Now we're going to start slowly rotating the tank in the air. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be ready with another couple of strips of the good aluminum duct tape. Reason being is because if you think you got it, but you take the tape off and you're not really have got it as good as you want, be ready to seal it back up. Now, if you do have it as good as you think you can get it, you have to pull all the tape off, anything blocking the holes, because it has to air dry. And you really need to let it air dry for a good amount of time. It does, surprisingly, it does add quite a bit of weight to the tank. So it's in there pretty good, I would say. Alright, so we want this facing me here, knocking all of my tape onto the ground, but it is facing me. Now I'm going to pull, let's have it facing you guys here. I'm going to pull the plug off now, so that way I can check. Yeah, that's some real good tape right there. Look at there, it's all over. I believe that did it right there. Don't worry about the stuff I'm throwing on the floor. I'll pick it up later. I know somebody's like, oh my god, I can get the garage so dirty. It's okay. Okay. So first things first, I've got a drop light right here. I'm gonna take a peek inside the tank. Okay, I can, wow. Oh wow, yeah, I covered, oh nope, there's a little bit. So that side over there and the top needs a little bit more. So let's close it back up. think I have it now. Here's the fun thing though. I won't be able to show you this until after it dries. Probably 24 hours. But you will see an amazing, beautiful new inside of a tank. And in fact, I will probably be undercoating this tank after that. Just this side, of course. Okay. So we could probably still use that. I didn't really take it to the front. So let's check. How is it now? Oh, it's sealed now. Oh yeah. Dripping in there. So here's what we're going to do now. We need to put this over top of this can and let it slowly drain out. It's the only way to get it out. And you don't want to leave it in there. There is a lot of material. So, and what you also need to do is after a little bit of it sitting, you're going to want to check it because you see how this is indented in on the tank? It means it's going to pull up in these corners. But you're going to want to flip it up, let it sit for a little bit, and then turn it a little bit to this side, let it run, turn a little bit to that side, let it run, and you'll be good to go. And this can be reused if you have something else, a small project. Something you don't need a whole quart for. So let me get it where I can sit it. Ta-da! That's my magic trick for today. Alright. Now, I have it leaned up onto the can where I'm just going to walk away. I'm going to let it go. Check back here in about 3 or 4 minutes and see how it's doing. Again, I will have to tip it from one side to the other. It is a little bit off center, so after I get it all out, I'll cut you back on. I'll open up the rest of the holes, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, I just want to let you guys know another thing. Once you pop this seal on this can, it's done. So, I might have misspoke earlier, but you cannot reuse this. But if you have another project you're working on right this second, like say if you have a car tank and a motorcycle tank, if you get that in that motorcycle tank immediately, you can still use it. But if you don't get it in there immediately, once this stuff is open, it's done. So you stir it, you use it, you put it in a can, it's going to harden, no matter if you seal it or not. And if you get it on anything, any holes that you can't get cleaned out, you cannot clean them. That's it, you're done. So make sure you properly do your tank. Any of this stuff, and you can also use this stuff on the outside of the tank to seal the outside if you're worried about it. I'm going to undercoat mine, so it's no big deal. But again, you better use this stuff while you have it. And it takes 96 hours to completely cure. So, again, as I said, I won't be able to show you until 24 hours, but it's still not going to be set for 96. So, as I just said, now during this process, if you think it's going to dry thick in a spot, keep rotating the tank. Flip it, turn it, whatever you gotta do. This stuff is very, very strong, and when it hardens, it's done. So make sure you do it right. Follow the instructions to a T. That's the best way to get the best results. Now, this stuff is going to continue to drain. I unfortunately do not have anything else to use it on, so it's done. But my tank will be sealed and it'll work perfectly again. Now as you can see, this is a big tank. I think it's like a 22, maybe a 20 through a 26 gallon tank. I'm not sure. But again, it's just thin like coat of material that's going on. There it is. Now you just saw me pour it out of there. There's a lot in there still. So I just let it slowly drain. It's gonna take some time. But all good things take time. So now I've got it basically all drained. I can't get every bit of it out. I actually got almost a half quart back into the can, so it's a lot. Now I need to take off the old fuel screen, which is garbage, by the way. That's why I used it. You can see all that silver on there. That's all the tank sealer. Here's the tank sealer. Tank seal. It's garbage. Pull off the vent hole cover I have. Make sure it is open. It's going to stick a little piece of a rag in there. Clean it out. Now we need to just let it dry. I'm going to see if I can't show you inside the tank right here in a second. Now, just so I can remind you, the reason you're going to want to clean out any of these holes is because once it dries, you're not going to be able to. That's the whole point. Seals it good and tight. I'm going to leave some of that on there because I want it on there to help that seal. Now let's see if I can't get you in here. Show you what it looks like. Actually, well, actually right there you can see how silver it is, but let me see if I can't stick this over here and shine it into the tank. I don't think that's gonna work all too well, but yeah, there you go. That's the wet sealer you're looking at right there. Which, what I'm gonna do is, since there's still quite a bit in there, I'm gonna slosh it around a little bit more. That's what you're gonna want to do. If there's any in there, which is gonna be very hard to get it all out, you're going to want to keep rotating it and keep sloshing that sealer around. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do that for until I feel like it's distributed all throughout the tank, and then I'm going to let it dry. 96 hours is how long it takes to dry, and she will be ready to undercoat the outside, put the new fuel mechanism in, hook it all back up, put it back in the car. So there we go. The tank is sealed now. I have all the extra out. But you know, it clearly says that I can take and brush the outside of this with, you know, the rest to seal it. So I figured, why not? So I'm going to grab a chip brush if I have one left. Yes, I do. And I'm just going to go ahead and brush the outside with the leftover. Why waste it? So I'm going to brush this. This is all raw steel from 65. I believe. I don't know if somebody replaced it. I don't know about it. But again, I'm not the first owner of this car, so it could be a different tank, but we're just gonna go ahead and brush this on anyway. I'm going to finish up with the tank here, painting it and everything, and I will see you guys in 96 hours to show you how it looks and how it dried. Alright everybody, it's been a week, but it's been definitely 96 hours, and this stuff dries hard. Here's the brush. Yeah, those are little paint strings that came off of it. The brush is hard as a rock. I mean, you could probably hit that with a hammer and it would do nothing to it. Here's what was left over in the can. It's hard as a rock. You couldn't get that out of there unless you cut the can open. I thought about doing, but why waste the time? Stuff is bulletproof. Alright, here's the top of the tank after it's all dry. Yeah, this stuff definitely goes on good, thick, and hard. Here's where it actually had ran through here, and you can see that stuff is hard. Very, very, very hard. Alright, so now I'm going to drop this light in here. Put you through this end. See if we can get a good light on there. Oh yeah, look at that. Hard as a rock, clean, ready to be used. I'd say this tank is now good for probably, oh, I don't know, another 20, 25, 30, I don't know, who knows how long. Since this stuff doesn't come off, I'd say the only time it's going to be replacing this tank is if either the bottom rots off or it gets into an accident. So, that stuff right there is awesome for fixing tanks. So, thank you guys for checking out this video. There'll be more videos to come. I'm going to put the fuel mech and everything in here now. Get it ready to go back in the car tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Check out, let's see here. Check out KBS coatings. Their gold standard tank sealer. It is awesome for your project car. Thanks for watching.